Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Charles Coachman. And this is Bay Area Let's Talk. Bay Area Let's Talk. Hope that you are having a great day. Hope that everything is going terrific. There's a lot of news going on today. There's a lot of things that are happening, and we're going to get to those things in just a minute and get into our music shortly, discussion of music. But the first thing that I like to do is talk about shout outs. And we've got one today for a special friend of mine, Mayan T. Nguyen. Mayan is just a wonderful lady. She has a wonderful, wonderful story of coming to the U.S. when Vietnam was closed down and taken over by the North. So Mayan, you are a very special person, and I wish you a very, very happy birthday. Wishing you all the best. And if it's your birthday out there, wish you the best also. So have a great, great day. Mayan, especially you. Let's take it back down a little bit. Pull this. So today, California has overtaken New York in total amount of COVID deaths. As of this morning, it was 45,496 deaths. 45,496. New York, unfortunately, also has 45,312. This is not something that we wanted to even discuss. This is a terrible thing. But we are seeing the numbers of cases coming down rapidly. So that is good news. But we are still having outbreaks. There was an outbreak at UC Berkeley. And now they're looking at closing down some of the areas, and people are not going to be able to be outside on campus. They're going to have to stay within if the reports are correct. And I'm just thinking, why wouldn't you let people out on the campus versus having them stuck inside where a spreading event could occur? A lot of different news. Hey, I skipped one thing. We are using StreamYard.com as our platform to go live with, StreamYard.com. And then we are also using the Grow Live Academy. Grow Live Academy is a Ken Walls company, and we are using them to learn how to go live. And Ken is just a terrific fellow. And I just want to make sure that I give them their due. And along with Grow Live and StreamYard, I am also using Hippo Video to stay in touch with people. So Grow Live Academy, a Ken Walls company. If you want to learn how to go live, you've got to check out this platform. And then StreamYard.com, we are starting to see it all over the place. It is a wonderful platform. And then Hippo Video, if you have clients that you want to keep in contact with and do it by video, one of the best ways of all to do it. So we were talking about COVID-19, California now leading the way, unfortunately, not the way that we want California to lead, but leading in deaths of COVID. So that is a very, very sad idea. And then related to COVID, there's a couple things that are going on. In the city of San Francisco, the city of San Francisco is suing their school board for not having a full and complete plan to bring kids back into school. I listened to a little bit of that conference that was going on today, and they said, yes, the school board did have a plan, but no, it did not address the things that they should have been addressing. So what is it, school board? What is it, school board? What are you going to do? It is kind of embarrassing when the city of San Francisco, the most liberal place in America, has to sue its own school board. One of the things that I believe his name is Dennis Brown. I believe it's Dennis Brown. Don't quote me on that. Dennis Herrera. Dennis Brown was a football player. Dennis Herrera, city attorney, said, we have all the private schools, all the parochial schools are open and functioning. Why are not San Francisco city schools? Why couldn't they do the same things that these other private institutions have done? Get their plans in place. We have been closed down for a year now. In a year, we could not have come up with a plan on exactly what you needed to do. In a year, you could not have afforded a staffer to be working on that plan and have it checked by everyone. There is something wrong there. Did we just take a year off, folks? Is that what it is? And then I wanted to go nationally here for a second. There were reports last night that although we would like to see all the schools opened throughout the U.S., that maybe the plan is we just send kids back to school for 1 day a week and the rest be done on video, going through Zoom. Because they're not sure what the CDC is actually telling people. Well, we know that that's not true because the CDC has been saying for months, and even Dr. Fauci has been saying for months and months, that COVID is not passed from young students to adults. We have to do something about this. We have to take the proper steps to get this done, and a plan for, hey, maybe 1 day a week, kids getting back to school. That is no plan at all. Let's get our schools open. Let's do what's necessary. Let's get our plans in place and get these schools operating. If everyone is worried about venting systems, there are portable venting systems that can be made available so that you have a clean airflow. You're not going to rebuild the school while school is on. We had a whole year to repair schools that have venting problems. But we need to go ahead and take care of these things now. Get them up and running. We cannot bow down to the NAR. Is that right? No, the NTA. We cannot bow down to the National Teachers Association. We cannot bow down to the California Association of Teachers or California Teachers Association. We have to make sure that we are getting our kids taken care of. Look, I am a 62-year-old man. I do not have the concerns, but what I have the concerns are for the young people, for those little kindergartners, for those first graders, for the kids up to 6th grade, and then moving on into junior high and high school. But these youngsters, we know that you learn the most and get your learning patterns put in place when you are a youngster. We are putting our kids behind the 8 ball. We are putting our kids in a bad spot for the rest of their lives. And nobody's seeming to care. We care more that we want students to have COVID shots when they don't need them. Let's get busy on this. Let's get busy on this. Hey, there was a big report today, and there was an FBI report in San Francisco, I believe is where they spoke from. there has been a major drug bust in Northern California. They are calling it the largest drug bust in Northern California history. Drug trafficking, firearms. It's been an 18-month investigation, an operation called Burnt Orange, where they had 44 arrests, an 18-month investigation with the Sinaloa drug cartel. We know that a lot of these drugs are coming from China through Mexico. And we got to figure this out. We have to sit down and decide that we're going to stop this. These drugs have been brought by car. How did they make it past our stop points, our ports of entry? A lot of it, they said, was just put in the spare tire. How does that happen in this day and time? There is no way that this should be happening. So congratulations to the Department of Justice and the FBI and all the field offices, along with the local police departments, that put this together, because it worked from Marin County basically down to Gilroy, and then a few spots further towards Southern California. I believe Santa Maria was one, and then they said Los Angeles. But the majority of the drug bust was handled here when it got to the mid-level dealers. This is, hey, I am glad that they got the drugs off the street. That is huge, huge. Well, we are going through, as we have talked for the last couple of days, we are going through the second Trump removal from office, although he is already out. And we're getting to see all sorts of videos of what happened on January 6th. There's plenty of stuff that's going on, and it was horrific. Everything that went on in the Capitol building was absolutely wrong. There is no way that people should have been able to break into the Capitol building. Look at what they've done now. They've turned the place into a fortress. Thousands of soldiers still around the Capitol building. Not that there is any plans that we're aware of, that they are talking about, for people to be coming towards the buildings. We certainly didn't do that for cities over the summer as they were being attacked. But here's a question that nobody has seemed to answer, and it's just has seemingly been avoided, and I want to know why. If reports are true, President Trump offered to bring in 10,000 National Guard. 10,000 National Guard. Why did this not happen? Why did this not happen? The story is that I am gathering from TV reports and from reports on the internet is that they did not want to show that type of force surrounding the Capitol building. When the FBI had reports that there were people coming to do damage, they had reports coming weeks ahead of time that people were coming looking to cause damage and destruction at the Capitol building. The FBI has made that report. Why then did they fail to bring in the National Guard to help the police? We know that we do not have a ton of police in that area. And we certainly couldn't pull everyone off the streets in Washington, D.C. to go to the Capitol building. We have a National Guard for such problems as this, to stop protests. Now, don't tell me that the National Guard, if you had a force of even a couple of thousand people, don't tell me that these folks that broke in were going to get past the National Guard. It wasn't going to happen. There has been no reports. Well, there were reports. Let me get this correct. There have been no reported confiscations of guns brought into the Capitol building other than what the police had. The only person shot on the Capitol steps or within the Capitol building itself was the veteran, the female veteran that was there. The one big weapon that came in was the guy in his get-up with whatever, a fox hat and his face paint, and he had a spear. We know that there were some knives, but how many people were coming to attack and really do damage to people? They went into where the Senate is. Did they destroy the Senate? No. Did they take some stuff from the offices? Yes. But I want to make sure that this is plainly understood. I am in total disagreement with anybody that would have broken into the Capitol building, unless we were in the middle of a revolution, which I don't believe those few hundred, not thousands and thousands of people has been reported. Yes, there were quite a few people there, but there were tens of thousands of people down the road that avoided the area, walked right past it and watched what was going on. Were we furious? Were people furious about the election? Yes. Most of them did not do anything. They went there, they applauded, they wished everyone well, and left. But there was a crew who was there before the speech, and some came after the speech, but very few. Most of what happened at the Capitol building were people that were there all along. So we've got to take a good look at that. So today, with the impeachment hearings going on, the president announced that minds are being changed in the Senate, giving people the idea and the thoughts that, you know what, maybe President Trump is going to be convicted. I don't know. I don't understand why the president would even comment on it, but I don't believe he knows that people are going to convict the president. If it happens, it happens. Unfortunately, I believe there's enough evidence out there that the president or former president should not be convicted. But things are different these days. We live in a different world. I am not sure what we need to do. But then there was other messages that the president put out there. They are going to be talking with the National Institute of Health. The president is going to be listening to Dr. Fauci and others about how they should be handling the pandemic. So hopefully we're going to get that straightened out, and we'll see what we can do there. But they are also talking more about gun violence and how we need to be more restrictive with our guns. So this is going to be another volatile situation, because guns and ammunition have been pretty well stifled in a lot of the areas. In California, I can't even get shells for my shotgun. Can't get them. The only way I can get them is if I'm loading my own. So, it's a difficult situation, and we have taken the rights away from our own citizens because we've closed down manufacturing. We have closed down a lot of the ammo and rifle companies that make our guns. They are not part of the people that are able to go back to work as of yet. Hopefully the restrictions will come off. Hopefully everyone will be back to work soon. But our restrictions it looks like what they want to push is that everybody that buys ammunition, you're going to have to show your ID with that. You're going to have to show, obviously, you're going to have to show your ID when you purchase a gun. And they're going to try and do this nationwide. And we're going to see what's going to happen. As it is, when you buy a gun in California, I had to show my birth certificate, my ID, take a test, make sure that everyone knew who I was, give up my fingerprints. But then buy a rifle and you can't even buy the ammo with it because all the stores are empty. So we're going to see where that lands. We're going to see where that lands. So again, in California, in the Bay Area, I just want to talk about schools one more time. We've got some areas that are opened up, some that are still trying to figure out the plans for getting their schools open. But our private schools and parochial schools are open and functioning while others are way behind. We've got to get this done. And it's up to the people from the state and from these local school districts. Each county has an office of education. They have got to get these plans out. They have got to get these kids back to school. And let's end this craziness. Let's get this done for our children. Now, my favorite time of the day. It is time to turn it over to music. Music and finish this up. So this day in music, this day in rock. Gene Vincent, in this day in 1935. What am I doing here? This day in 1935, Gene Vincent was born. His full name was Eugene Vincent Craddock, born in 1935. He was a rock star. His big song and his best known song is Bebopalula, released in 1956. This man, he had some problems later on, but he was Elvis before Elvis. Bebopalula was huge, and it could have been a hit at any time. Bebopalula had a song called Race with the Devil. Blue Jean Bop, and Woman Love. He had a great career. He is in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, and he is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He unfortunately died in the 1970s. I don't know exactly what happened with him. I don't know his full story, but this guy, there are a lot of comparisons to Elvis, and he was there before Elvis and had a huge hit before Elvis ever did. So this is one of those guys that we really have to look back on when you're looking at rock. On this date in 1939, pop lyricist Jerry Goffin was born, just a few days and a couple years before his wife, or former wife. And he wrote songs along with Carole King. You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Will You Leave Me Tomorrow? He wrote all sorts of great songs. Jerry Goffin. On this date in 1940, Monster Mash singer Bobby Boris Pickett, he was born. And what a big smash that song was. On that, and I didn't have any idea until I was reading about it, Leon Russell played keyboards for him on this song. Leon Russell. And then Bobby Pickett passed away in 2007 of cancer. In 1963, there was a song called Hey Paula, put out by a duo called Paul and Paula. Their real names were Ray Hildebrandt and Jill Jackson. That was a huge song. And I remember it and really got into it and loved it because of Animal House. Heard it in Animal House, and I hadn't heard it in many years before that. So, to the both of you, Paul and Paula, 1963. So, 58 years ago. And up to a couple of years ago, they were still going out and singing this song. Singing this, and they had a couple other hits that were minor hits, but this was one that everyone loved. Born on this date, 1963, Sheryl Crow, one-time backup singer for Michael Jackson and Don Henley. Born in Kennett, Missouri, she had some huge hits. Three that come to mind are Soak Up the Sun, All I Want to Do, and My Favorite Mistake. She started becoming more known for her relationships, but her music was great. She did a wonderful job. A wonderful job. 1970 on this date, John Lennon and Yoko Ono played Instant Karma on the BBC Top of the Pops. On this date in 1975, one of my favorite singers, one of my favorite performers, just love her music. You're No Good by Linda Ronstadt hit number one. Hit number one. She was awesome. She was awesome. In 1978 on this day, Billy Joel with Just the Way You Are. Just the Way You Are. And that became the number one hit. But now Billy Joel, that was written for his first wife. Now Billy Joel says, I'm not playing it. He hasn't played it for years. Maybe it's changing now, but for years and years he hasn't played it. But somebody wrote some other lyrics for him. And apparently it said, she took the house, the dog, the car. And that's just the way you are. But Billy Joel no longer plays that song. He says he hated it, but he was convinced to put that on his album. I loved the song. I thought it was one of the greatest love songs of all time. But not anymore. And I thought it was really funny. A few years ago, I was driving up to Oregon. And I stopped and I said, oh, Billy Joel's greatest hits. I said, I'll grab that so I can listen to it. And flipped it on there, and I'm going, I've heard this whole album, and Just the Way You Are is not on it. And when I stopped and took a look, I said, it's not on the album. How can that not be on there? And sure enough, he didn't want it on his greatest hits. He didn't want to play it for anyone. In 1984, the single Thriller hit the top 20 in the charts. It made a steady rise to number 4 as a single. The album took off. The album was crazy. One of the biggest selling albums. As a matter of fact, I believe it overtook Rumors by Fleetwood Mac to become the best-selling album of all time. It's since been surpassed, but at that point in 1984, Michael Jackson was the rage. Everybody loved Michael Jackson, and this album was one of the best. And this was the time I decided I would go down and buy this album. And I walked into my favorite Tower record store, and all of a sudden, the records were very limited, and it was all CDs. And I didn't have a CD player. I'm going, what the heck? In 1985, I may have overlooked this guy in the past. George Michael, another one of those pop singers that has passed away. He was part of the group Wham. What was their big song? Something about the go-go. Wake me up before you go-go. Wake me up. He went to #1 with the song Careless Whisper. I was not a big fan, but you know what? He went to #1, and a lot of people loved it. Now, this one has a little bit of a personal touch, and it's kind of laid out there for today. On this date in 2001, 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rules that the MP3 swapping website Napster, when's the last time you heard about that? Must stop users from trading tunes without the permission of the copyright holder. One of the biggest bands fighting that was Metallica. They were wild. They're saying, we're not getting any money from this. The artists aren't being paid because of this. And the biggest person, really the most outspoken person, was Lars Ulrich, who was the drummer for Metallica. And we went to a baseball game during this period. We went to a baseball game, San Francisco Giants. Barry Bonds was on one of those streaks, and we were watching him, and we were there for, I don't know, his 61st or 63rd home run. And as we were leaving, we got into an elevator to go downstairs, and there we were with Lars Ulrich. And he had his young son. I just asked him, how you doing? So good to see you out there. And we just kind of smiled and left it at that. But believe me, I had plenty of questions I wanted to ask, because this was the story covering everything. And I'm a huge music fan. Not a real big Metallica fan, but I am a huge music fan. And that is the end of today's This Day in Rock. Hope that you're having a great day. Hope that you are going to have a terrific evening. Looking forward, Fridays is going to be all about music. I'm going to spend my day just going through stuff. I'll be putting some of these songs up on my Facebook page later on today. But I wish you all the best. Have a great afternoon, great evening. And we have 3 shows throughout the day. We have got a morning Bible study. We have got our noontime, or 9 a.m. in California, have our real estate show. And then at 3 o'clock, we have Bay Area Let's Talk. And on Fridays, it is now going to be all about music, unless there is something that really needs to be discussed. And then we'll talk about it. Have a great day. Let's see real quickly. Charles, hey, Scott, we are having a good day. We are enjoying this. It's been a hectic one, but it's been a good day. And Scott, you have a great evening too. I really appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful evening. We look forward to talking to you. This is Charles Coachman, and this is Bay Area Let's Talk. Take care. Good night.